Good morning and welcome to Today in LA. And I'm Mike Amos, and we're coming to you all over South Alabama and throughout the country on Facebook, and in fact throughout the world on Facebook this morning as we come in here for the first time of the year. And I hope to want to wish all of you a happy new year, and of course a great holiday it was, and I hope everybody had a good time and relaxed a little bit like I did. I hope everything is going well in your house this morning as we start a new year. And of course I don't know if it's good news or not. Troy's Neil Brown, Troy University head football coach Neil Brown, is one of the top candidates for the West Virginia coaching job, which it just became vacant because their coach is leaving West Virginia to go be the head football coach at Houston, and of course that's a $4 million job. You can't blame me for that. Good morning. How you doing?
Hi. Morning.
Mike Amos calling in from Birmingham this morning. Is it official yet, or is it going to happen, or what's the deal?
I mean, you never know what to believe. I mean, you hear sources saying there's a contract out there for, 4 years, $11 million, which would be about 2.75.
Whoa.
Makes you wonder if he might be taking less to pay his assistants more. I would imagine Vic Koenig is a very important factor in this hiring process due to the fact he's been such a great defensive coordinator, and I'm sure that other coaches that will be going with Coach Brown, you've got to try to pay them as much as possible as well. But I'm hearing reports that something could be finalized today, but who knows? We've been through this several times over the last few months, and all I can say is he deserves a Power 5 job. The staff deserves a Power 5 job. I'd be extremely happy for their families. I'd be extremely happy for Coach Brown because, he did everything we could ask, and more at Troy. So, I mean, if this is, the school he goes to, West Virginia, congratulations to him.
Yeah. Well, and of course...
Troy's going to find a good coach. They're just going to find somebody young and hungry and somebody like Coach Brown that, gets the community involved, gets the students involved, gets everybody just fired up, to...
Mike, I'm thinking they could, people wonder, what's going to happen. And, of course, everybody says, in fact, ESPN reported yesterday that Neil Brown, the Troy University head football coach, is the number one candidate for the West Virginia job. And so you can't deny that kind of credibility, from ESPN.
I'll tell you even more than that. West Virginia Sports came out late last night and said Neil Brown will be hired today.
Okay, so that pretty much
West Virginia Sports. But, I mean, none of this, is confirmed. Luke Fickell's also in the mix. The Cincinnati coach won 11 games this year. But, it is sad as a Troy fan because a lot of people think this is the best Troy team maybe ever coming back next season.
Yeah, exactly. Well, everything remains to be seen. And also, somebody told me that there's been a phone call made out to Kansas. And, Mike, you know who that is, don't you?
Well, Chip Lindsey is definitely going to be in the mix if the Troy job comes open.
Lindsey is a bright young coach, Mike.
Well, it comes to his Southern Miss relationship with Jeremy McClain, the athletic director.
And he's he's a good football coach, too. I tell you, he can do a lot of the same things that Neil Brown can do. And that's recruit.
You're gonna have a lot of Larry Fedora stuff, coming into play too. The North Carolina coach.
No way.
Was at Southern Miss as well. I mean, I'm just telling you. I mean, that's connections right there. You just don't ever know.
Question. All right, let me put you on hold a second. I got a call coming in right now. We'll try to bring you in too. I'm gonna put you on hold. Good morning, you're on Today in LA. How you doing?
Mike, it's Max. How you this morning?
Max Howell, how you doing, my friend? And of course.
Yeah, the same to you. Happy New Year and all. I'm just I'm doing my morning show up here, but I got
I
a guest
understand.
today, so I took 4 or 5 minutes. I just want to step out and say, tell me what the latest is on Neil Brown.
Well, Mike just told me that he heard it out of a West Virginia sports show that they will announce today that West Virginia is going to hire Troy University head coach Neil Brown. That's just what but that's pretty close to the roots.
I heard it last night out of Atlanta.
Okay.
Different people called me, said it was a done deal. They just hadn't announced it yet. And I called Judy Morgan and asked her. She said she had heard the same thing, but nobody had told her officially. Mike, I'm trying to do my homework.
Judy, of course, is the coach's secretary, so I reckon that is pretty close to home.
Well, now, if he takes that job, Mike, he had to have had some kind of inside being at West Virginia, maybe some of Kentucky's.
Yeah.
His Kentucky background, I don't know. I mean, we all know it had to come at some point in time.
Somebody was telling me already it was going to be a 4-year deal for over $2 million, something like that.
We knew he was in that range. I mean, we felt like he'd already proven himself that he could make it. He could make it to that level.
Yeah, no question.
I think the whole thing then. So, what direction does Troy go, in your opinion?
Well, I don't know. I think they go to Kansas and talk to Chip Lindsey. Wouldn't you think?
I was the first name that came into my mind last night at 10 o'clock when I heard that. I promise it was.
He was a former offensive coordinator at Auburn that left Auburn under his own reconnaissance, evidently, on wheel, and of course was going to join Les Miles' staff as offensive coordinator at Kansas.
Well, I think he's got a better chance for future success at Troy. That's just my opinion.
Well, I would think he would want the job because, of course, it's right here in his neighborhood, and he knows all these coaches and players, and he could jump right in going. Couldn't you think?
I don't think there's any doubt. He was at Spain Park. He was at Southern Miss. So he recruited, Alabama and Mississippi.
And I think he was at Southern Miss when, Jeremy, our athletic director, was at Southern Miss. I want to say.
Okay, that's right. He was. So I would think you're absolutely right, and I really appreciate it. I needed some support from my thought, and you just gave it to me, Mike.
Well, that's the first thing I just sat down. I've been gone since Christmas, and we've had a great holiday, and of course, Troy can be awfully proud of what Neil Brown did. 3 straight years, winning 10 games. That's not bad. Not many coaches in the country can say that, can they?
No, you're absolutely right. Again, that shows consistency. It shows good recruiting. And main thing, it shows organization, that he's been able to put together and hold a staff together. So I agree with you. I think he played very, very well for Troy. He did an extremely good job. He set the foundation. Now they just need to make the right choice to continue on with what they did.
Well, a lot of folks thought he would get the Kansas State job. I would think that the West Virginia job was a better job than Kansas State. Somebody told me it's a $4 million job.
Absolutely. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And I think he's got a good chance. His system works well at basically what West Virginia's been doing. I'll be interested to see about his staff now if he gets the job.
That's right.
Staff,
Exactly.
Because, he'll be on the spotlight now.
Well, I'll tell you this: they've got an excellent defensive coordinator. They've got an excellent dual offensive coordinator. I wouldn't trade those guys for any two coaches around.
Yeah, those are the kind of things that I'll be interested to see who goes and who stays, and and then if Chip takes the job. How does that all work out? I absolutely agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
I hope that's the first choice that they go after.
Exactly right. Max Howell calling in from Fulton, Mississippi. Did you have a nice holiday?
Oh, great, Mike. I watched more ball games, and we were off the air. Excuse me. Our local programming, I took all them off and gave them a week off.
Yeah.
Here, I'm back in this morning with the morning show. We've changed some staff members. I put some new people on there.
You're probably on the staff right. Are you on the air right now?
No. I've got a guest in there sitting with our host, so I stepped away. See, our morning show is geared to high schools.
Yeah, I got you.
And we bring high school coaches in. We got a girls basketball team sitting in there this morning.
Well, good.
What he does, we do it. It's an hour and a half show. We do 30 minutes of what's going on around the area. Then we do a high school coaching staff and or players then we come back and wrap it up by individual, stories on what's going on. Of course, we got the Ole Miss offensive coordinator's job. Then we got Mississippi State that got beat yesterday. So we got a lot to talk about here in North Mississippi this morning.
Well, there's a former Troy linebacker coach that's a outstanding coach at Ole Miss now that a lot of people are talking about that it's going to be a great head coach one day, but I don't think he's there yet.
Well, I tell you what they better do. They better win 7 next year. They're going to fire every one of them.
I know it, exactly. No question
they
about it.
They got to do that, and I was not impressed at all by hiring Rich Rodriguez. He's been fired the last 2 jobs.
Well, is he the offensive guy? What is he doing?
They just hired him yesterday, the offensive coordinator.
Okay.
They fired him from Arizona for sexual harassment, and they fired him from Michigan State, and left him with NCAA problems.
Oh, man.
So,
and can you believe at one time he could have taken the Alabama job?
That's right. You know what I heard the story on that, Mike?
What?
The way that thing came down, and Mal Moore was supposed to have been the instigator of this. He already knew about Saban, and when Rodriguez came to town, some booster gave him a big check to keep moving, not to stay. So
I know it. And
I heard that story last night.
You know where he gained all his fame, Rodriguez, was he was the assistant coach under who? Tommy Bowden at Tulane.
That's right.
Tulane went undefeated. They should have gave Tommy Bowden anything he wanted if he could go 11-0 at Tulane.
At Tulane, I agree. I absolutely agree with you. But, look, you've been around this business a long time, Mike. Making those decisions at that level, a lot of politics involved, and sometimes we don't know where it comes from.
Yeah.
Guys just show up, there they are, they get hired. So.
Well, let me ask this. I know you ate well. Is that right?
Oh, man, you can't. I'm going to close with this. I got to go. But not only did I eat my black-eyed peas and collard greens yesterday for lunch, you know what I had last night for supper? A friend of mine had gone squirrel hunting.
Oh, no.
Listen to this, fried squirrel, buttered grits, and biscuits.
Oh, man. I bet that was good. I hadn't had squirrel since my younger days, but I used to do that. My daddy could skin a squirrel in 3 minutes.
You just cut around and pull it.
That's right, man. He nailed his head to the.
Right. I did it 100 times, Mike.
Well, that's nothing.
You have a good week. I'll call in if I don't get you the rest of the week.
All right, we'd love to have you, man. You know that.
I'll try to do it tomorrow, Friday, just for a few minutes. But next week, I'll get back on my regular routine.
All right, thank you, my friend.
All right, buddy. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Max Howell, calling in from Fulton, Mississippi. You're on the line. This is Today in L.A. How you doing?
Hey, I'm still on the line.
Mike Amos calling in from Birmingham, and the news, ladies and gentlemen, is not good news if you're a Trojan fan, because this is an outstanding football coach who had won 10 ball games the last 3 years. Nobody in Troy's history has done that, and I don't know if many young coaches in this country have done that, to win 3 consecutive years with 10-win seasons. Mike, can you believe Texas?
Well, we don't know for sure if it's confirmed yet.
No, we don't know. It's not confirmed. It is not confirmed. And you knew more than he did as far as that. For you to hear that out of a West Virginia sports network, that makes it sound pretty real to me.
Well, I've been very surprised how the SEC has played during the bowl season. It looked like Georgia let Alabama beat them twice last night. That wasn't the same Georgia team that played Alabama against Texas last night.
No question about it, and that really did surprise a lot of people. It's just amazing. Some people just have a hard time getting ready for a bowl game, especially after losing such a heartbreaker against Alabama.
Yeah, this happened to Alabama a few years ago as well, when they played Utah after losing the Florida SEC championship game. When you have a chance to win the national championship and then you lose, it's just hard to get up for that bowl game. And then Alabama did it 3 or 4 more years later against Oklahoma in the Sugar Bowl. So Kirby Smart was a part of those teams, and Georgia just didn't have any sense of a running game or, being able to throw consistently last night. And Texas, they might be legit next year.
I tell you what, they were good against the run, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
And the quarterback,
the quarterback for Georgia, who was top quarterback in the country, looks like he's going to transfer out. So, Jake Fromm played great against Alabama, but he definitely didn't play great.
Boy, they could use that kind of this quarterback that they've got is very similar to the quarterback that was at that Alabama had to face last week. Don't you agree?
Yeah,
at Oklahoma.
I tell you, he reminds me a lot of Tim Tebow.
Well, just think of the big deal is this. All right, Texas swarmed the quarterback, just swarmed him. Fromm didn't have a chance to turn around half the time. But with that running attack, they couldn't rush the pass like that because this guy's going to run the ball up the middle 30 yards or 40 yards.
Yeah, Swift played really poor for Georgia last night, had 2 fumbles. Of course, he's their best player.
Yeah.
He definitely didn't show up last night. Of course, other games in the SEC yesterday, you had, I thought, the biggest surprise of the bowl season. You had Mississippi State lose to Iowa. Mississippi State's defense was the best defense in the country. But a lot of people thought Iowa put 27 points on them.
Well, let me tell you something about Iowa. They always play the bowls tough, Mike. They're always good in the bowl game.
Yeah, that's 8 bowl wins Kirk Ferentz has now since he's been there. But it's a situation where Nick Fitzgerald had the ball in his hands to lead a drive late in that game, and of course he just cannot throw the ball. I mean, he's the worst throwing quarterback I've ever seen in my life.
He won't go in the pros, will he?
He doesn't have a chance in the pros. I mean, he would have to change positions. Maybe
play tight end or something like that, yeah.
But the big surprise of the day was Kentucky beating Penn State.
Boy, let me tell you, you talking about that's the biggest thing that Kentucky's done since Bear Bryant beat Oklahoma.
Oh, that's what a lot of people were saying. That's the best Kentucky team ever yesterday. They finished 10-3.
And at one time, did you know that Bear Bryant, a Bear Bryant coached Kentucky team, knocked off Oklahoma team that won 30 or 40 some straight games.
Yeah, Bud Wilkinson's team.
Yeah, that's right.
Of course, UCF finally falls yesterday. LSU.
But you
only won 40-32. But I tell you what, LSU could have put that game away numerous times. But LSU had 8 defensive starters out, and then had 2 starters during the game ejected for targeting. I mean, they were basically playing with 3rd and 4th string defensive guys. So that was kind of impressive that they did win the game.
Did you see that run where the guy actually carried? Ladies and gentlemen, I have never seen anything like this in college football or any time. I bet he had 7 people on his back. Did you remember seeing that run? He rushed.
Yeah.
He ran 10 yards with 7 people on his back. This LSU running back, and it was really, really impressive.
LSU wins 10 games, and Orgeron, you got to give him credit. I thought maybe they'd go 7-5. Some people thought they'd go 6-6. He won 10 games. So that's a pretty good season.
You know, we've always said if LSU can find a quarterback, you look out, and I think they might have found one. He's pretty good, isn't he? Well, he was the hero of that 72-70 game, wasn't he?
Yeah, of course we hadn't been on the air in so long. We hadn't even talked about Troy's big bowl win down in Mobile. What a great game against Buffalo.
Oh yeah, no question about it. And what a great. That's when I'll holler.
The Alabama-Oklahoma game.
Yeah.
Of course, Clemson exposed Notre Dame, which a lot of people thought that Notre Dame wasn't one of the top 4 teams. And I mean, starting off with Troy, I mean, Sawyer Smith played a great game, but I tell you, Troy is a totally different team when Damian Willis is back in the lineup at wide receiver.
Yeah, he's
a big time player.
Yeah, he's going to be Troy a household word in the pros. I think he's that good. And then of course,
Troy wins 10 games for the 3rd straight year, and of course, it's one of those things that at the time we thought we had our coach coming back, and now just a week later, it all started with Holgerson, the West Virginia coach, taking the Houston job.
And that surprised me. He was probably making right at $4 million at West Virginia, wasn't he?
You would have to think somewhere close, but now Houston offered him 4 years. 5 years, $4 million a year. So that's $20 million contract.
Oh man!
To go to Houston, he's going to be the highest paid coach in the non-Power 5 conferences.
Yeah.
And then that opens up the West Virginia job. And then a few days earlier, Mark Richt decided to retire, and the Miami job came over. So Manny Diaz left Temple, where he had taken the job to go back to Miami, where he was the defense coordinator the last 3 years. So there's been coaching changes after the bowl games, but you don't see a whole lot usually.
And Diaz is mainly known for his as a defensive coordinator. He's never been a head coach, has he?
No, he was at Middle Tennessee State, where Troy played him every year. Then he was at La Tech, and then of course he had big jobs, Mississippi State, Miami, and he was Texas's defense coordinator as well.
How about Rodriguez, Mike? Rodriguez takes a big job.
To Ole Miss to be the offense coordinator. If I was Matt Luke, I never would agree with that.
No, I wouldn't have either.
Basically, just bump Matt Luke out the door and give Rodriguez the head job.
And Rodriguez, Mike, has a troubled list for a long ways, man. I tell you, he's had all kinds of problems on and off the field.
But I mean, didn't you think that Troy game, though, as far as Buffalo had some really talented guys. The quarterback was the biggest quarterback.
That guy, I'll tell you right now, that guy was as good a quarterback as I've seen all season long.
And we haven't on the show either. He has decided that he's already graduated, so he's going to transfer out his senior year. So,
boy, where will he go, you reckon?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see where he ends up. Could he possibly try to go to Auburn?
Hey, wouldn't that be something? But now, one thing about it, he doesn't run, and I tell you, they're making me a believer more and more. Is this running type quarterbacks the guy that Oklahoma's got? That's the kind of quarterback everybody needs. That guy was something.
You got to be dual threat. I mean, that's one thing.
He had an off night and still had over 500 yards in total offense.
Yeah, Tyler Murray. I mean, definitely impressed me. I told everybody, I think if they had just got one onside kick, there was no way Alabama was going to stop them. I mean, Alabama's defense just shot. It was 80 degrees in Miami that night.
Yeah, it was. They were sweating. You're right. I think that helped Alabama a little bit. Everybody says depth. Alabama sure has depth, but how many times they catch Alabama with 12 men on the field? You remember that?
Yeah, well, I mean, Alabama. Defensively just couldn't rush the passer, and I mean Murray being able to scramble. I mean, they didn't have a chance. If they would have come out early, Oklahoma, and put some points on the board.
Mike, I'm going to tell you this. I was at a New Year's Day party yesterday. Wonderful party. Jacqueline, you did a fabulous job. A huge party, and it was just a lot of fun. And I was talking to a lot of good people that know a lot about sports. The biggest play in the Alabama-Oklahoma game was when, early in the game, when number 33 reached out and grabbed that jersey. If he doesn't grab that jersey, Mike, the quarterback is off to the races, and Oklahoma cuts it to 7-7 instead of getting down 28-0.
Yeah,
that was a huge.
Anthony Jennings.
Do you remember that play?
Oh yeah.
He reached out to hear the quarterback and the Heisman Trophy winner is reaching out, is fixing to go, and I mean in the open field, very few people. Mike. He reminded me of the great Troy player in the open field. If you ever got in the open field, it's going to just be almost impossible to stop. And if he doesn't reach out and grab that jersey, he's in the open field, might even score,
What, you talking about Mike Turk?
No, I'm talking about from Eufaula, our great wide receiver.
You talking about Jernigan?
Yeah, Jernigan was unreal in open field, But,
I also want to mention Troy basketball had their biggest win in years. They won at UAB in Birmingham. Actually, won by 1 point. UAB had a desperation last shot at the buzzer they made from half court that went in. And I was watching it on ESPN just on my computer thinking the game was over and UAB had won, and it turned out the shot didn't make it before the buzzer, or made it after the buzzer, and Troy beats UAB for the first time. Troy was 0-10 all-time in basketball against UAB, but beat UAB and now lead Arkansas Pine Bluff, so now they're 7-5 going into conference play, and that's probably their best record going into conference play in years.
No question about it. And Coach Cunningham, if you're watching this morning, and he's the early morning guy, Mike, and congratulations on those two big wins, Western Kentucky at Western Kentucky and UAB at UAB. UAB had just taken Auburn into overtime. Is that right?
What now?
UAB had just taken Auburn into overtime.
Yeah, they had just went overtime with Auburn. UAB's got a really talented team.
Mike, hey, hold on. We're going to catch this other line. Hold on, please. Good morning. You're on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Hey, Mike. Will, man.
Thank you.
Will Matthews, won't you please come home? Did you have a good holiday, Will?
Oh, yeah.
Every day is a holiday. Have you bought your tickets to the game yet?
Well, actually, I have 2 tickets, and I sold them yesterday. I got to looking at all the problems you got getting out there, getting rooms and all that, and I said,
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it on TV.
All right, I'm going to bring Mike Amos on. If I lose him, call you, call me right back. I'm going to bring Mike Amos on. So we're going to... all right, I believe I got both of you. If I got both of you, who do I have?
I'm on.
All right, Will, you on? I'm going to bring Will on right here, Mike.
Will was at the game.
Yeah, I know it. I'm going to bring him on right here. He's going to tell us more about it. Will, are you on?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mike, you on? Let me bring Mike on and we'll be ready.
She never really has to.
All right, now. Both y'all on? Will, Mike, you're on too. Yeah. Will Matthews is now on our line, and of course, Will was at the Alabama game. And Mike, he said he just gave away tickets to the big one.
Yeah, there's tickets out there.
All right, excuse me.
Birmingham to have them.
Excuse me. He just sold his tickets to the big one. Is that right?
Well, I sold them for what I paid for them. I mean, they were at regular price.
What is regular price?
It was $600 a piece.
$600 a piece? Regular price?
Yep.
Mike, is that what you had opportunity to get?
I thought face value was $550, but maybe it's $600.
Well, what's the difference? What's the difference?
Will would know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I paid, $600 a piece.
Yeah. Will, did you have fun at the Orange Bowl?
I did, and that stadium's fabulous.
Yeah, I knew that you know, they jumped back and forth with different stadiums for a while, and they finally found a good one. Is that right?
They remodeled the stadium. They spent $500 million on it. I mean, it's fabulous. It really is.
And Miami fired their football coach. What happened there?
I mean, if you don't win, you're gone.
Their program has not been the same since, and they're going to have to. There's a great young coach out there that can get those players, but if you don't get those players out of Miami, it's hard to win at Miami, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, they hired Manny Diaz. They've already hired a coach.
Yeah, but he's never been a head coach before, I don't think.
He'll be all right.
I've got Mike on the other line, and Mike called me yesterday afternoon. He said, Mike, he said, Daddy, I got the tickets. You want to go? And I don't know. I've still got a little time to think about it, but that's like you said, though, it's a lot of headaches too.
It's a lot of money. It's expensive.
Yeah, Mike, how many planes are coming straight out of Birmingham?
There's 2 flights flying direct out of Birmingham.
Now, there's one flight, Will, that you can fly in and fly out the same day.
Yeah, $5,000 for 2 people. Yeah.
Is that what it is? What, to fly in there and same day deal? You mean fly in there that morning, fly out after the game?
Oh yeah, it's expensive.
I don't believe. Yeah, if I win, I'd want to have a big time. I talked to Johnny Williams yesterday. He's leaving out today to go, and that's what's fun is get out there and be not Hollywood, but be in San Francisco for 3 or 4 days.
Now I've got a friend that's going out there and he's playing golf and he's staying at Pebble Beach.
Yeah, it's not far. In fact, Mike, what year was that we went to the Silicon Bowl? One in the Silicon Bowl.
That was 2004.
And we went to play golf. Well, we didn't go play golf. We went out to see the golf course, and they had their worst rainstorm in 20 years. And we couldn't even walk out on the green.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's bad. Weather out there is no gimme.
But at that time, Troy played Northern Illinois on the worst playing field I believe I've ever seen. And the wooden bleachers, you talking about getting splinters in your behind, it was easy to do that, wasn't it, Mike?
Yeah.
Mike Amos calling in from Birmingham. Will Matthews from Ozark, of course, from the Matthews law firm.
Airport right now, dropping off Camille and Macon.
Are they with you right now?
Yeah, they just Macon's about to fly for the first time. So
I know it. Is Macon in the car?
No, they're heading to the terminal now. Just dropped them off.
You know, Will, I had quite a time. I went a day early to the big bowl game in Mobile, and then the Dollar General Bowl, and Troy pulled that one out, and looked very good doing it. And then we got in the car Sunday morning, drove to Birmingham, and I spent 3 nights there and had Christmas. Then I come home, dropped my bags off, and head to the beach, and I just got back yesterday.
Yeah.
Listen to this. I want both of y'all to hear this. Let me tell you how police can be wrong. New Year's Eve morning, or some people can say New Year's Eve night, about 2 o'clock, maybe 2:30, I had gotten up to go excuse myself and was walking through my hall, and I noticed there was a bright light on outside my house. This is on Crow Hill in Alabama.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and then I turned. I noticed it was a police car, but I didn't think much of it. But then I turned and was heading toward my den, and there was 2 huge lights on my deck right outside my den. I have a deck that goes all the way across my house, and there were these 2 lights that were moving back and forth. I said, "What in the heck is going on?" And then I hear a noise out there saying, hold it where you are." And I reached over to turn the light on in the den, and for some crazy reason it wouldn't work. And I didn't know what to do. I was scared to death. And so finally I got the den lights on and lit up the place. And they could see I was there in my underwear and T-shirt. And the den that I have in, most of the time, half the time I sleep in my lounge chair in the den. I just sleep sitting up there many times. Thank goodness I was coming from my bedroom this time. And after I hollered, I said,
well, wait a second. Why were they there in the first place?
Well, they evidently they got a call. All right, I want you to hear this now. And I think he had a firearm out, and he had his firearm.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and he's on our deck right outside where my recliner is. And thank goodness I was already up, and actually was up and awake. They didn't wake me up out of a dead sleep, but I was already up, like I said, to go excuse myself, like I do many times during the night. And so I see this light, and I said, I'm Mike Amos. This is my house. And so finally got his attention, and he said, this is 206, isn't it? I said, no, this is 200.
Oh, my goodness.
And evidently, 206, I'm the first house on the left going up Crow Hill, and it was the third house on the left that where the call came from, or where the alarm went off. But no telling what could have happened. But you know what he told me? He said, "Oh, I'm sorry, it was 206. I'm sorry, it was 206. Hey, no telling if I'd done something crazy. No telling what could have happened."
Wow, that is a crazy story.
But that is a true story, and it happened New Year's Day morning, which was yesterday morning. It happened yesterday morning.
Have you spoken to the police department yet?
Oh well, I haven't called him yet. I'm gonna call him today and just talk to the chief and says that. But what I know for sure is that police make mistakes, and that was a big mistake. And if
he shot you, me and your wife got rich.
Oh, I know it. I thought about that. And but we had been gone, like I said, on a holiday, and we came back New Year's Eve morning, and then had a relaxed New Year's Eve celebration. Went to sleep and awakened by the Troy Police Department on New Year's morning about 2:30. And all his reply could be was, "I'm sorry, I got the wrong address."
Oh, my goodness.
Mike, I signed a search warrant about 25 years ago on a dope raid. And the police officer put the wrong number on the house.
Oh.
And they went next door awake in
oh, me.
with about 25 people, and they came in with guns and the whole 9 yards.
Oh, gosh.
It was wrong.
I haven't. I'm sure. Hopefully, the police reported themselves on this, but I am going to call the police this morning and tell them exactly what happened. My wife was scared to death.
Now everybody in Pike County knows about it.
Well, my wife was scared to death, and you know, let me tell you, I debated on whether I should say something about it because I think people need to know that police make mistakes too.
Of course, any human being makes mistakes.
That's right, and so
the thing is, y'all have an alarm in the house.
That's right, but you know, our alarm was not on. The alarm was not on, but in my house. But nobody tried to get in, actually tried to get in the door. But I could see if I hadn't hollered out, he might have broke the glass door down. You know.
Well, back to the game. Alabama's defense was shot in the second half. They had nothing left. Oklahoma could have scored at will.
Well, I tell you what, I was concerned. I'll tell you that. And Alabama made it.
They were never closer than 11 points.
Yeah.
I think.
I know, but if they got one onside kick, which they almost did one time, that might have been a scary last few minutes of that game.
I think they would have gotten that onside kick if the guy had let it go another couple of feet.
Yeah.
No, there's no doubt. There's no Alabama guy there.
Yeah. It was not a good setup. I know that. But let me just say this: that Alabama running the football in the second half and killing all that time is what won the game, don't you think? Didn't give the ball. They didn't.
Alabama should have kept throwing the ball. They'd have got more touchdowns and they'd be farther ahead.
Yeah. Hey, let me tell you this.
Score that ground.
Yeah. How about those Auburn Tigers? Will?
Well, Auburn. I don't know what happened to them, but they woke up.
Boy, they sure did. And I tell you what, Auburn woke up and Texas woke up as Texas just ran roughshod over Georgia. That wasn't even close, was it?
Well, I think that whole game turned around when the punter knelt down to catch the ball and gave them the ball.
And hit a knee, is that right?
Oh, yeah, and that was terrible.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Let me tell you this. But let me tell you this. All right, that punter his knee can't hit. But how about the holder? Have you ever wondered on holders for field goals and all that? They've got a knee down. That's the same thing.
No, the holder's different. There's a rule.
I know. Well, it must be, but again, though, he's got his knee down.
Yeah, I know, but the holder can get up and run. But unlike the punter, when the punter puts his knee on the ground and catches the ball, he's down.
Yeah.
And I don't know, and that was just terrible for Georgia.
Exactly right.
I'll be honest, I thought Georgia just let Alabama beat them twice. I mean, that's not the same Georgia team that played Texas last night. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
No, they weren't ready to play.
Well, you know,
they should have been able to line up with that big offensive line and just run it straight at Georgia last night.
how many points did Oklahoma put on Texas in that?
They put on 39 in the championship game.
Yeah.
They put 45 on them in the regular season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what,
I don't know about you, Will, but I've been really disappointed with the SEC in bowl games. They've been playing really poor in the bowls.
Well, Florida played great.
They play good. And let me tell you this, and like you said,
Mississippi State, look at Georgia. I mean, look at
Mississippi State laid an egg.
Look at Missouri. Missouri had 650 yards of offense against the 6-6 Oklahoma State team and still got beat.
yeah.
Yeah, Mississippi State should have won that game easily, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, he did throw one pass in the end zone in the fourth quarter, and Mississippi State got just flat out dropped it. And then he tried to catch it again and bounced up in the air and got intercepted. Yeah.
Well,
that was crazy.
Yeah, no question.
He's the worst throwing quarterback, though, in the history of the SEC.
Well, I tell you what, though, he's had a great career, though, and did a lot of great things.
The ball.
Yeah. But of course, it was.
What do you think? What do you think about Monday night, Will?
I'll lose. I really do.
You think Alabama's gonna lose?
Yep.
You do? But let me tell you the way I look at it. Alabama now will be facing pretty much a straight drop back passer or a passer that passes out of the pocket. All right. So their defense can set up to play against a quarterback that's pretty much a straight drop back passer out of the pocket. And he's a good one now. He's a freshman too. All right. Compared to a guy that drops back to pass, can't find a receiver, then starts heading downfield, making people miss like nobody in the world. We're not looking at that type of quarterback. We're looking at a quarterback now that Alabama can defend because he's going to do basic stuff offensively. Now, he's going to throw it very well now. Don't get me wrong. He's going to throw to good receivers, and he's probably going to have a good offensive line to protect for him. But Alabama knows exactly what that quarterback's going to do. Against Oklahoma, they had no idea what that quarterback was going to do.
That guy was great, I admit.
All right, but don't you think that Alabama's defense sets up a lot better in this situation than they did against Oklahoma?
Well, I think the game will be a lower scoring game. I mean, that's, it's going to be probably 28 to 24 or 35 to 31. It's not going to be.
I mean, Clemson's front seven are pretty impressive. They got a great defense.
And let me tell you this, and this is just something I've got in my mind. I really believe that our second string quarterback's going to have a lot to do with this game. I think he's going to play a lot in this game because I think Alabama is going to run the ball more in this game.
Hurts?
Yeah, I think Hurts will play a big part in this game.
Yeah,
see, I thought Hurts would have played more. I thought he would have played more against Oklahoma.
Yeah, exactly. But now,
I mean, all I can say is Dabo Swinney's top wide receiver, Justin Ross, is from Alabama, from Phoenix City.
Phoenix City, Central Iowa, Phoenix City. Is he a freshman, a pure freshman?
Pure freshman.
You mean their quarterback and their wide receiver are pure freshmen?
Yeah.
I think that hurts them a little bit.
And you know how a great interception against Notre Dame was Kevin Turner's son.
Oh, listen, I almost cried. I almost cried when I heard that was Kevin Turner's son that made that play, and he was number 24 too, wasn't he? That was Kevin's number 24.
I never got to see any of Clemson and Notre Dame at all.
Yeah, but he played.
Well, it was nice to watch. Notre Dame just basically got whipped on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
Talking back about the Turner kid, he played at Prattville, I would think. And he
played at Vestavia Hills.
Oh, did he? He played at Vestavia Hills, and our guy over at Clemson just gave him told his mom, he said that I'm gonna give him an opportunity to play, and he did.
Yeah, he said he loved his daddy.
He loved his daddy. You're exactly right. Boy, what a great player! I tell you that's a touching story right there in my book.
Dabo's a class act, man. I tell you what, I don't think he'll ever leave Clemson. But I would definitely have no problem if Alabama offered him the job if Saban does retire.
Yeah.
Like he'd take it, Michael.
I don't think he is either. I mean, he's a legend for life in Clemson. And I've been to Clemson. It's a beautiful place to live.
There are a lot of guys out there, including Chiswick. Everybody likes Chiswick. Chiswick has become a national hero type. Everybody likes Chiswick a lot. Troy's job could be coming open. There's nothing official yet by any means, but there's a lot of pretty big name operators.
It could be official today.
Yeah, it could be official today.
Where is he going?
West Virginia.
He's going to West Virginia on a 5-year, $4 million contract.
$4 million a year?
Yeah, for 5 years, $20 million deal.
No, that's what Hogerson's taking it.
That's what I'm saying. That's what Hoberson is leaving West Virginia to go to Houston. And this deal, from what I gather, was a 4-year, $2.7 million deal, what I've heard.
Yeah, Neil Brown deal is what I'm hearing is 4 years or $11 million.
All right, yeah, which would be equal to
$2.75 million.
Well, that's not bad.
No, it's not for old country boy from Kentucky. You're right, it's not bad at all.
The cost of living in West Virginia is not that bad.
He's got a beautiful home.
I tell you what, though, he's from Danville, Kentucky, and that's only 6 hours from Morgantown. So he grew up, not too far from there.
Yeah. Of course, West Virginia is a pretty big school, and I think they have a good program. Wouldn't you say, Will?
Well, I'm sure they'll love him because he's an offensive coach.
I know those coal miners love their football. I know that.
I'm wondering why Holgerson would leave a Big 8, Big 12 school for a smaller school.
Well, money, and hey, how much money you think there is in Houston, Texas?
There's a lot. But still, Houston's not a big powerhouse.
He's going to be the highest paid coach in non-Power 5. A lot of people think expansion is going to happen again. They think Houston's a lot to go into the Big 12.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, ought to. I think.
What drive-in theater? Hey, Will, what drive-in restaurant are you going into right now?
No, I just went and picked up my mail from 2 weeks.
Okay.
A week and a half.
Will Matthews from the Will.
What did you say? It seemed like Alabama had more fans in the Orange Bowl than Oklahoma. Would that be correct?
I would think so. I would think so. And I'll tell you what, I bet there'll be a lot of Clemson fans in California. They think they can win, Mike, without a doubt. Don't you think they can win?
Well, I mean, Alabama's won 2 and Clemson's won 1, so this is Clemson's chance to tie it up.
But don't ever think that being a freshman will not have something to do with the way that quarterback and that wide receiver play. I think it'll be tough on them. They're still just 18-year-old freshmen. They're 18-year-old freshmen.
Mike, they played 14 games.
I know it, but they hadn't played for a national championship. They against the only game in town, national championship.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you why there will be more Clemson people out there is because they assumed they would beat Notre Dame, and they went ahead and made reservations.
I'm sure they did. What would be a plane ticket out there? Will, have you checked on it?
It's about $850 from Dothan.
$850 a piece from Dothan. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the best you heard out of Birmingham, Mike?
Out of Birmingham, I'm hearing 600. So it'd be basically 600 each round trip.
Does my favorite airline go out there?
Well, I think from Birmingham you can fly Southwest out there.
That's what I was saying. My favorite airline Southwest.
Well, you could fly into Vegas and then just get a one way to Vegas and then fly out from Vegas the day of the game.
You could.
I thought about that. I thought about doing that. I really did.
I got free rooms in Vegas, so we could go to Vegas.
Yeah, I guarantee you though, it's a very expensive trip. No question.
It would cost $6,000 or $7,000.
Mike, tell me about Rodriguez going to Ole Miss. Did you know that? Will, did you know that Rodriguez is now the offensive coordinator at Ole Miss?
Boy, that's a come down, isn't it?
Well, yes, it is. And
to go from Michigan and Arizona down to this.
Yeah.
They're paying him $800,000 though.
Are they really? Well,
he's still getting paid a little bit from Arizona.
You know who made him famous, don't you? Will, you know the coach that made Rodriguez famous?
I have no idea.
Tommy Bowden.
Yeah.
You know, Rodriguez was Tommy Bowden's offensive coordinator at Tulane when Tommy Bowden, remember this, went 11-0. You remember that?
That's been a long time ago.
I know it. That's right.
You know what else?
And I think Rodriguez has lived off all that ever since.
You know, Tulane covered every time that year.
What now?
They covered every game that year.
Did they really?
Yeah.
But I remember that right, and of course, Tommy Bowden, reaped some benefits from it, but he wasn't able to hold on to the big game. He went from Tulane to Clemson.
Clemson, yeah.
And
I don't know what the percentage was in the bowls, but it seemed like the underdogs were winning all kind of the last couple of weeks, last couple of times.
I was shocked by Vanderbilt. I think Vanderbilt's a good defensive team, and Baylor just ran up and down the field.
Boy, Baylor, you look at Auburn, you look at Baylor, and you look at Texas. They were awesome now. The worst team I saw in the bowl games had to be Purdue, though. Man, that was the worst football team defensively I think I've ever seen.
Did you watch it in South Carolina against Virginia? They're pretty awful, too.
Oh, what? South Carolina was bad against Virginia?
Virginia beat them 28-0.
Yeah, 28-0.
I mean, how do you score 35 points against Clemson and can't score against Virginia?
Yeah. Ohio State looked good again, but you know what? They like to blew it right at the last, didn't they?
Yep, they didn't cover the spread. I know that.
Of course, LSU.
I thought the line went down to 4.5 and kick.
Well, let me tell you this: the team that really could have been different. You know, a lot of people saw the LSU Central Florida game, and they saw where Central Florida couldn't move it as well. The reason is their star quarterback tore his knee up the next to last game and did not play in the game. If they'd had that quarterback, I believe they'd beat LSU.
Possible.
Don't you think he was a pretty good one? He one of the best top 5 quarterbacks in the country at the time.
Yeah, he was a good quarterback.
But the biggest win, I would think, and the happiest people I would think would be Kentucky to beat Penn State. I didn't think Kentucky could beat Penn State. Did you?
I didn't either.
Nobody did. Nobody did.
And their quarterback was coming back and everything. And
it came out though after the game that McSorley, the Penn State quarterback, was playing with a broken foot. Do you believe that? How can you play with a broken foot?
I don't know. A lot of shots. Mississippi State.
Is that what happens when they go in those medical tents and get a lot of shots?
I don't know. I'm not gonna get into that. I promise you.
I would bet he had some Novocaine.
Well, Mississippi State loses to Iowa. Had a pretty good football team. Texas A&M, boy, that game was close early, but boy, Texas A&M killed North Carolina State.
Now that's a team you need to watch for next year.
Yeah, they're going to be good, no question about it.
They're going to be good from now on. Jimbo's getting players, and you watch. He's going to be tough.
Well, I know money's no problem. I'll tell you that. Utah clobbered Northwestern. Utah's got a
Northwestern beat Utah.
What?
Oh yeah.
What? Wait a minute.
Turned it off at the half.
That's exactly what I did.
It was 20-3 at the half, and Utah didn't score again, and
Northwestern came back and won that game.
28 points and beat them 31-20.
That is amazing to me, and I'd already counted that one as a loss. All right.
One of the ugliest games you ever watched in your life is Oregon beat Michigan State 7-6.
I could not believe that. I tell you, he's done a heck of a job at Oregon, hasn't he?
Yeah, Cristobal.
Yeah. Missouri, as Michael mentioned, got over 600 yards in total offense and still loses to Oklahoma State. Oregon and Michigan State.
Can we go ahead and call the upset next year when Troy travels to Missouri?
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. Is Missouri's quarterback come back, or does he graduate?
He graduated. They got Kelly Bryant, the Clemson quarterback.
Oh, does he really? The Clemson quarterback is there now. Is that right? Michael just made a statement just recently about Buffalo's quarterback is going to be transferring, and Auburn is wide open for that guy. What do you think?
They need somebody.
But you know who I'd go after? I'd go after the guy that's leaving Georgia. Where is he going, Mike?
They say Ohio State is where Justin Fields is going.
Yeah. So
he's got to sit out a year.
He would.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's got to sit out a year.
Yeah, I got you.
I mean, the guy they think is going to Oklahoma. They think Jalen Hurts is going to go to Oklahoma.
Oh, do they? They think Jalen Hurts is going to Oklahoma.
That's what they talk about on the radio up here in Birmingham. How it'd be a perfect fit.
Oh boy, that would be something. Of course.
Well, he's from Texas.
Yeah.
State.
Cincinnati, Mike, I would think this coach at Cincinnati would be one of the hottest coaches out there right now.
Yeah, Luke Fickell.
Yeah, he's done a great job at Cincinnati.
Game, they came back and beat Virginia Tech. That was a pretty good game.
Yeah, I know it, exactly. Of course, Notre Dame and Clemson, Clemson's defense just shut them down. I think Alabama, believe it or not, I think they match up real well with Clemson because Clemson's going to play basic offense. They're not going to do anything crazy with a quarterback running out of the pocket and all that. So it's going to be a straight up stop the pass and or stop the rush and beat the pass, whatever the other.
you think about when Alabama got up 28-0? Were the fans just going crazy?
Well, but I tell you what, I never felt safe.
Even after that?
I know how, even with 28-0, I still felt like they could come back.
And Alabama was sort of lucky early, wasn't they?
I had some buddies texting me back and forth, and I said, no way the over's going to hit. And sure enough, if Jacobs runs into the end zone at the end, the over hits and Alabama covers.
Yeah. Boy, hey, you could tell that crowd was real upset about it. They're not winning the money there.
There were people booing around me.
Including you. Okay.
I tell you what, Josh Jacobs for Alabama, I mean,
boy, he is good.
If they start Harris against Clemson, I'll be shocked.
Hey,
Josh Jacobs is the best running back at Alabama, and I've been saying it for weeks.
And, he can leave early if he wants to. I hope he doesn't leave early.
He's going to. They say he's going to be a first-round pick now.
Oh, really? Isn't that something? Okay, we're looking at Nevada and North Arkansas State. That was a close game, wasn't it?
State led that game the whole game until a minute left. And then Nevada scored. It went to overtime, and Arkansas State kicked the field goal. Nevada scored a touchdown, and that's how Arkansas State got beat.
Or the Sun Belt would have been 4-1.
That's right. Yeah, they would have been.
Yeah. Of course, Virginia clobbered South Carolina. Michigan, boy, hey, you talk about overrated. Michigan was overrated. Don't you agree?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was.
Florida
in that game.
Yeah.
They beat them.
And then Washington.
I tell you what, Mullen's a great quarterback coach. That Felipe Franks is not even close to the quarterback. I mean, he is this year from last year. I mean,
watch Florida. Watch out for Florida if he starts getting all those great players.
I think he's gonna start contending with Georgia every year now.
Yeah. Washington State beats Iowa State, and I was glad.
That was a great game. Did y'all watch that?
Yeah, I tell you, that freshman quarterback for Iowa State's good. I know that, Purdy.
And then Gardner Minshew, they were interviewing before the game. He said, "Yeah, I wish I'd have found this place earlier. I started at Troy."
Did he say that? Did he say Troy? He said Troy.
Yeah. I went to junior college, went to East Carolina, and thank goodness Coach Leach called me, and I ended up at Washington State.
Exactly right. Of course, the Syracuse-West Virginia game was a good one, and Syracuse got a good young quarterback too.
Oh yeah, what's his name?
Dundry, same name as the coach and.
It's Gundy.
Gundy, yeah, or something like that.
Yeah, Syracuse won 10 games. I'll tell you, that coach has done a great job there. I'm surprised he's not going to get a bigger time.
I know it. Then Auburn could have scored 80 points in that game, Mike.
Oh, they were up 56-7 at the half.
Yeah, I know. That was something, wasn't it? What do you think Auburn's going to do, and what do you think they need to do?
Well, I heard they're going to give Gus 2 more years on there. They're going to extend him on 2 more.
Yeah. And,
is that a joke?
Yeah.
Now they're going to have to find a quarterback, though, don't you think? Do you think they got a quarterback right now that can do it?
No.
So I still say Hurt is out there for Auburn.
Hurts would never do that. I mean, he's an Alabama legend. He would never go to Auburn. Yeah.
Baylor was very impressive against Vanderbilt. I was impressed with Baylor.
Yeah, Baylor's
got a great coach.
Yeah,
Baylor's got a real good coach.
Yeah. Well, they looked pretty good, I tell you that. They were one of the real surprise teams. Wisconsin beat Miami, and of course, Wisconsin, don't ever bet against them in a bowl game. They are really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Rick writing on the wall after that.
Riggs is out of here. I don't think you'll ever hear from Riggs again except as a TV commentator.
Yeah, he's retired now.
And I always will say this, if the Lord cared who won football games, Riggs win every one of them, would he?
I mean,
he needs to go to full-time preaching. Duke and Temple, and again, maybe the best football coach out of them all, at least he had Duke playing over their heads all the time. Duke won that game pretty easily, Mike.
Yeah, they were down early to Temple, but ended up blowing them out. Their quarterback decided to go early to the draft. A lot of people think he's going to be a first-round pick.
And, of course, very well coached.
Daniel Jones.
Yeah, very well coached. TCU in California, and again, another great coach. A great coach. Patterson at TCU. What do you think?
Well, they won the game.
He had no talent.
Oh, I know it. I know it. And it was the worst TCU team ever, and he still won 7 games. Minnesota and Georgia Tech, and Minnesota might be, out of all the games, Minnesota might be the team that played above their heads more than anybody. They killed Georgia Tech.
Yeah, they're coached by that P.J. Fleck.
Yeah.
Hey, Will, what did y'all do in the stands? I almost broke my television set when Alabama received that kickoff. You know, Oklahoma was real chippy throughout the game, so they got 2 personal fouls.
Yeah, that's right, and he signaled for a fair catch. You're right.
And Josh Jacobs was about to probably return it for a touchdown, maybe. And Brian Robinson sticks his hand up in there for a fair catch. So Alabama started having the ball at about the 50 at least.
Yeah.
At the 20.
That could have been the biggest play in the game. It could have been.
That was crazy, it really was.
But Alabama did. I still think Alabama took it and drove down the field and scored, didn't he?
Alabama could have thrown that middle slant across the middle. They could have thrown that at will.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Stop it.
And you know,
they quit throwing the ball in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, they tried to run the clock out. Alabama used it to score 60.
Yeah. One thing about the Minnesota-Georgia Tech game, they were playing without the head coach was the last ball game. But again, Minnesota was given, 15 or 20 days to get ready for the option. You know, that had been a week. It had been hard to do, don't you think?
Oh, when you got time to prepare for the option, it makes a huge difference.
Who won the Boise State-Boston College game?
It got canceled. It's the first time in history a bowl game got canceled.
Ladies and gentlemen, they canceled the ball game because of lightning. Is that right?
That's right.
And decided not to play it.
That's right.
Well, think of all those fans that spent all that money.
I know it. So that was a no game there.
Yeah, that's when the
That was going to be on Christmas.
Mike, think of all the people that looked at the weather forecast and bet the under, and it was 7-0, and it was almost halftime.
Yeah.
Think about
I know.
Where was that game played?
Dallas.
In old Cotton Bowl.
You know, Dallas is a bad weather place. If you look at the weather year round, Dallas always has storms and bad weather. But now again, if they've been playing indoors, this wouldn't have happened. Hawaii and Louisiana Tech. Who won that game? Louisiana Tech.
Louisiana Tech destroyed them.
Can you believe that these two teams made it to a bowl game? I cannot believe that either one of those teams played in the bowl game.
Well, anybody that wins 6 games gets to go to a bowl nowadays.
Of course, Troy goes 10-3 and beats Buffalo in the Dollar General Bowl, and I thought that was a well-played game and against 2 pretty good teams.
Yeah, Buffalo had 2 great wide receivers. One of them was playing in the Senior Bowl, and they were physical on defense as well. You know, the reason Troy won the game is they had so many turnovers. Buffalo turned the ball over, and Troy, found a way to come up with a passing game, and Troy had no running game in the first half. I think they ran for 7 yards, and B.J. Smith ended up running almost for 100 yards.
When they got balance, like you said, when their running game came around, then it was all over with. Troy was able to move the ball at will on them. This wide receiver.
Troy really, to hold the ball the entire third quarter, Buffalo never touched the ball on offense, which is unheard of.
It was unreal. Did you hear that, Will?
Yeah.
They did not touch the football in the entire quarter because Troy kicked the onside kick.
But you know what's so crazy
that was the craziest thing. And let me tell you this now, it could have been disastrous.
They lost the lead on a 95-yard fumble return for a touchdown.
Yeah, I know. That was terrible. Yeah. Number 15, Mike, he'll play in the pros, won't he?
Yeah, Damian Willis, I think, definitely will play in the pros.
Boy, he caught 13 passes. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't know if people were listening earlier in the show, but Neil Brown is the number 1 candidate for the West Virginia job. So we still don't know if that's going to be official today or if that's even going to happen for sure. But if anybody's tuning in right now, that Neil Brown possibly could be leaving Troy for West Virginia.
Yeah. All right, Will, hang with us. We're going on a break right now, and we thank our sponsors so much, and we'll be right back.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandbeck Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandbeck Insurance offers many lines of insurance, whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies. Sandbeck is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandbeck Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance needs.
Tori Dunn from Dixie Trails. You get your truck washed here?
I sure did.
Billy Johnson. I know you're not bringing them cow trucks over here.
I do, and they're like me when I leave.
Loretta, what are you doing?
Getting my car detailed.
At Trojan Detail, we do it all.
When you are handed the key to a new Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick or GMC, rev up your imagination. Think of all the places you can go in some of the most stylish, best quality cars available on the market today. Feel confident driving vehicles with superb dependability and safety ratings. And smile. You saved a ton of money because you bought at Bill Jackson. Let the only thing holding you back be the end of the road. A Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC vehicle will not only change your life, it saves you money like nowhere else.
At Cost Plus 10%, we offer your favorite brands at the best price. At Piggly Wiggly, we keep it simple. We price our products at cost, then add 10% at checkout. We carry all your favorite name brand foods, and we accept manufacturer coupons. Find us on Facebook and see our weekly specials.
Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by Hook's Barbecue right here in Troy. And, of course, that rail is moving, I hope, isn't it? Hook's Barbecue is open today for you. And, of course, not only do they have great barbecue, they've got great camp stew, $8 a quart. You can't beat it. It's delicious barbecue. Of course, their ribs outstanding. Their chicken is outstanding. They give you a whole half a chicken. Boy, that's some good eating, I promise you, at Hook's Barbecue. Hopefully, we'll be moving our reel here. Of course, we appreciate Hooks and all of our sponsors.
I want to make it down to Troy soon and hit Sisters and hit Hooks. Hit a bunch of restaurants.
Yeah, exactly right. And of course, he's coming from. You're coming from Barbecue Town too. Now we ate at a new barbecue place in Birmingham.
Yeah, that's one of my new favorites, Martin's.
Called Martin's, and I thought their ribs were awfully good.
Yeah, they got really good sauces as well. They have hand cut fries. It's in the Cahaba Heights neighborhood of Birmingham, kind of near the Summit. If anybody's looking for it one day up in Birmingham.
Well, no question about it. It is very good, and we appreciate it very much.
Of course, a lot going on with Troy sports. Troy's basketball team will start conference play, I think, this weekend. So Sandra Ribby's team, the girls, are off to a great start as well. So
now, another thing, we didn't mention this. I don't think that they beat Ole
Miss. I think we did talk about that, didn't we?
Yeah, they beat Ole Miss over the break, and of course, hopefully we'll have some great attendance to these games and support this team because they're pretty good. There's no question about it. And of course,
yeah, I mean, it's one of those things we mentioned. Might have been the greatest week of Troy sports, and since they've been Division I, they beat West Kentucky on a Sunday in basketball, which has a great program, great team at West Kentucky.
Yeah.
Then the women, I think, beat Ole Miss at Ole Miss on a Tuesday night.
That's right.
And then Troy's basketball team, the men's team, beat UAB for the first time ever on a Friday night.
And see, that was the night before the big bowl game.
Yeah, the bowl, and then of course Troy beats Buffalo in football to win 10 wins for the third straight time. That was all in a week span.
That's right.
Athletics, pretty impressive.
It was a great week, and Jeremy, congratulations. Now,
I'll tell you what, Jeremy McLean's going to be loving life. Troy athletics right now is probably at an all-time high for every sport.
And you know what? He does such a great game. He does such a great job. You know, the worst thing in the world is to be out there coaching and not know where you stand with the AD. You know, he lets his coaches know where they stand. He supports the coaches, so solid. The basketball and baseball and girls sports, all of the sports, and, of course, football. He's a great leader. He's a man that respects these coaches and gives them as much opportunity to win as he possibly can.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can ask for. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, a lot of people are upset that Troy to lose Neil Brown and lose up this great staff and all these guys that we come to really enjoy so much. But, at the end of the day, Troy's going to find a good coach. And, Jeremy McLean, trust me, has got a list of 5 guys in his drawer that, you know, he's been having to get ready for this for the last 2 years. I mean, Neil Brown's one of the
I could accept
coaches in the country. I mean, it's just one of those type things he knew eventually this might happen.
No question. And of course, if he does take the job, to me, there's a lot of good coaches out there, including 2 on his own staff. Mike, I like his offensive.
I mean, I like Matt Moore and I like Big Coney. I mean,
I like Coning and Matt Moore. I like either one of them.
Big Coney was the head coach of Wyoming.
Exactly, and I like Matt Moore a lot too. He's a great guy.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. You know, I mean, of course, none of this will be official. I would think we'll know something by tomorrow when we start the show.
Well, that would be something, and of course,
you know, we got you know, Alabama, Clemson on Monday night, and you know, Will seems like he thinks Clemson's going to win the game. The way I look at this game is, I look at it kind of like you do. I don't know if a freshman quarterback, even though this guy never lost in high school, has never lost in college.
He's never lost a game, has he?
I don't see him playing lights out.
Somebody needs to cut his darn hair, though, man. Man.
He definitely is an ugly looking dude.
Oh, you know, he could be a handsome dude if he cut his darn hair.
But
somebody might say,
I think Alabama's defense has got to get Christian Miller back, or they got to have Terrell Lewis. You know, the guy that blew out his knee, that was an All-American candidate, probably first-round draft pick. You know, he's back practicing again, and Christian Miller can't go. You might see Terrell Lewis in this game, who's a great pass rusher. Of course, he's coming off an ACL.
I think they're going to need to be at full strength, I promise you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They got to be at full strength. Luckily, you know, no targeting calls, no issues with that as far as going into this championship game.
Now, what do you think Clemson will try to do now? You know, I said I think Alabama.
You know, Travis Etienne, their running back, rushed for over 1,000 yards. They got a great running game. They got a really good passing game. The thing I think Clemson will try to do, I think they'll try to keep Alabama off balance. I think you'll see initially that they'll try to run the ball on Alabama and kind of see, you know, kind of what they get.
Yeah.
But that's one thing with this quarterback. He's extremely accurate. And Alabama's defensive backs, I mean, you saw it against Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah, they're not great. They're not great by any means.
And I'll say this. I've never seen officiating this bad in bowl games. They're letting them play like I've never seen in my life. In the Alabama game, Oklahoma receiver was just pushing off.
Oh, yeah, terrible, yeah.
And they didn't call him once. They didn't call holding much.
Hey, Mike, how about the defensive, how about the official against Troy? How many bad calls did he get? Troy guys were hanging all over Troy guys, and he wasn't calling anything.
We were sitting with some Troy fans. I thought eventually some Troy fans might try to run on the field and tackle the guy. I mean, it was awful.
It was just that one guy. The rest of them did pretty good. This one guy, and he looked around, and you could tell he started getting self-conscious about it, you know?
I mean, one time Willis, he turned him around 360.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just spun him around and didn't even get a call.
And then another time they tackled him in the end zone. I mean, Troy could have scored more points if it hadn't been for that official. I'll tell you that.
Well,
that official. Let's just say this: that official helped keep Buffalo in the game, don't you think?
I was more than happy to see Troy score 42 points, and I mean, well, you know, we did after the game talk to Caleb Barker, which I think was great.
Boy, hey,
and tell him how much we thought of him and what a season he had before he got hurt. And this is, you know, for everybody listening out there, he told Dad now point blank, he said, I'm going to take these guys and we're going to win it all next year. He said, we're going to win every game.
Yeah.
That's what he told us. And he's going to be better than ever. He said, come on.
Boy, and I tell you what, don't look at him as being little. He's at least 6'3". Wouldn't you say about 215?
Yeah, he's a big kid.
He might, be honest with you, by being hurt, get stronger and stronger. He might be a better football player, because, believe it or not, because of his injury.
He said that ACL was something he's probably had for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And finally, it just happened.
And, of course, again now, and I do
Don't get me wrong, I was very proud of Sawyer Smith, though. He did
that's what I was going to say. I was very proud of him, and he played excellent. And he doesn't call it. He doesn't give you the threat that Caleb gets, because he just can't. He's not quite as fast. And of course, you can tell when that old boy, that lineman picked up that fumble, ran for a touchdown. He didn't even give it any kind of race, did he?
Well, I mean, he didn't have an angle, and that was a defensive back he was trying to catch.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Barker might could have caught him, but I don't think too many quarterbacks could have.
But again, Troy's going to be in great shape with quarterbacks. They got the transfer coming in from Brantley, to play junior college.
Jacob Freeze coming in. They've got the kid out of Florida from Jacksonville, Gavin Screws, that threw for over 85.
Well, and then how about the kid from Georgia, Mike? They've got 5 good quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah, Gunnar Watson. Yeah, it's crazy.
We're going to have some transfers probably after that. But with this new rule.
Look at that on offensive line. You lose Crumney, your starting center. Everybody else is back on the offensive line.
Yeah.
Everybody.
And you know what?
The kid out of Enterprise, Bradshaw, started in the ball.
Yeah. Bradshaw out of Enterprise played a great game. And he sure did. Mike.
The biggest issue Troy will have will be at wide receiver. You lose Sidney Davis. You lose DeAndre Douglas. You lose Willis at wide receiver. Great players.
Tomorrow, I want you to give us an idea of sort of a breakdown on some of these recruits, or I might try to get the recruiter guru to come on.
The thing about Troy, that early recruiting, if Neil does go, these guys are already signed on the dotted line. So
I told somebody the other day, the best thing that's ever happened to Troy and all these mid-level teams is to have that early draft, because in the past, that long draft, these big schools had an opportunity to look at some of these guys a little bit longer,
Yeah.
And they lost a lot of good players that way. This new recruiting deal really helps Troy a lot.
I tell you what, one thing Troy does have to find is some more defensive ends. I mean, they lose Hunter Reese. Of course, they lose the great nose guard, the Sanders guy.
Boy, how good was he? Man, was he good.
How good was Hunter Reese as a walk-on?
Oh, I know it, exactly. But this down guy, what do they call these down guys when they make 2 has to block them? They call them 2 has to block them.
They call them, what do they call them? Run stoppers, I guess.
Yeah, run stoppers, but he was really, really good. I was going to look at.
But Troy on defense, I mean, they got the Marshall kid that played just lights out, the kid from McGill Tulin. They've got, a lot of guys back in the secondary. They lose Rucker, but I think everybody else is back in secondary. Dunlap came on great from Maplesville, played great.
Boy, he's a great one. I wouldn't doubt if they didn't move Dunlap, maybe a receiver.
I don't know, man. He really played good on defense late in the season. They'll lose Blaise Brown. A lot of people think he'll go in the draft.
Did you see him block that kick? Boy, that was a huge play, but a great effort.
I mean, it basically stopped us from having to go to an onside kick.
That's right. Exactly right.
But Troy is loaded coming back. I mean, they got Tron Folson's coming back. They got a couple more guys, defensive ends. Barker's coming back.
Yeah, Barker's a good one now. You're right.
Marcus Webb will be back. He's really good. They've got a lot of talent coming back. They got a lot more talent coming back this year than we thought they had this year.
Yeah. Now, do you think some of these guys might transfer because of the coaching change?
I don't know. I mean, you got to sit out a year,
so they don't get that special deal.
No, that's only if you're on probation or something like that.
Oh, really? I thought a senior could go anywhere he wants to as long as
a senior that's graduated can. Yeah, you have the senior transfer rule.
Exactly. Yeah. I want to look down at some more of these games. Houston and Army. Boy, was Army good. They killed Houston. They scored 70 points, didn't they?
Probably why Major Applewhite lost his job. He got beat by 70 points by Army.
And Major Applewhite, the former Texas quarterback, lost his job after 1 year, wasn't it?
2 years.
Okay. Boston looking at Memphis and Wake Forest. Whoever's coaching at Wake Forest is doing a heck of a job. They're much improved.
We know him well. He used to coach for Bowling Green when they played Troy. Dave Paul.
Yeah, he's a good one, isn't he? And,
he's always been good.
And so they beat Memphis. Is that right?
Yeah, they beat on a field goal to win the game.
That's right. Of course, BYU and Western Michigan. BYU look like it's got a little offense now, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get to watch too much of that game, but BYU only finished 7-6.
Yeah. Other games, FIU and Toledo, and FIU, Florida International, just wore Toledo out.
Yeah, that's the most wins they've ever had as a program, 9. And their coach Butch Davis, who was a great coach at Miami. A lot of people thought he was going to get the Miami job when Rick left, but they decided to go with Manny Diaz instead. And I think that would be a mistake. I would have gone with Butch Davis.
I would too, mainly because Manny Diaz has never been a head coach. Like you said,
Butch Davis is in Miami. He knows how to recruit that area.
I know he does. You're right.
If you can't get players out of Miami you can't coach and you can't recruit.
That's right. That's exactly right.
There's Division I prospects at every single school, probably 15 to 20 of them.
They don't worry about in-state teams. They have to worry about Michigan. They have to worry about
they got to worry about Alabama,
Ohio State, and all those guys that get those South Florida kids. You know, and I don't know what makes them so good, but they are good. Marshall in South Florida. Marshall
plays good in bowl games.
They won several of them in a row. Ohio University just walloped San Diego. He might be as good a coach as there is in the country.
I don't know about that, but he's
the old man who, well, let's just say this. Where would Nebraska be if they hadn't have fired him?
Well, they probably wouldn't have had to go through.
We're talking about Solich, ladies and gentlemen, and Solich went to Ohio University and won every year, hadn't he, Mike?
Yeah, Troy's beat him twice in bowl games, though.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Northern Illinois and UAB won that game, and boy, what a...
Yeah, UAB's got an outside chance to be ranked. They're 11-3.
If I had a Coach of the Year, I think that's who it'd be.
Well, he won a lot of Coach of the Year's awards, Bill Clark.
Yeah, Bill Clark, and, of course, former Prattville high coach.
I tell you what, Neil Brown, he would never get Coach of the Year, but he should get Coach of the Year in the Sun Belt. I mean, when he lost his quarterback and had all those injuries and still finished 7-1 in the league. You're
right. No question about it. And again, you got to also kudos go out to Troy's quarterback for coming in and playing like he did. You know, he didn't play well that game against Liberty, and we lost. But after that,
he didn't play well against Liberty, Texas State. He played awful, and then Appalachian State he played mediocre. So he played decent against Georgia Southern. He played great. Lafayette he played great. He played great in the bowl game.
What he did at Appalachian State was they stopped the run. They shut Troy's run down and put it all on his shoulders. And
Troy got down 21-0. It really hurt.
Yeah. And, Troy's defense
I tell you what, we said that at the game. He throws a great deep ball.
Oh, he really does. He's a strong kid. Of course, Appalachian State and Middle Tennessee. Appalachian State is a solid football team. Their coach has left them to go to Louisville. He could have waited around, and he would have been a perfect fit for West Virginia, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would have went from the Mountaineers to the Mountaineers.
That's right, exactly. Eastern Michigan and Georgia Southern, that was a great ball game, and I was impressed with Georgia Southern. But I was equally impressed with Eastern Michigan. And you talk about a team that'll hit you now, that bunch will knock your strap off.
Yeah, I tell you what, Johnny Williams has been blessed with some of the best games ever in that bowl game.
That's right. Every game they shoot
Every single one of them come right down the wire.
That's right. And Georgia Southern, again, you got to compliment them for bringing that crowd. Boy, what a crowd they brought, Mike.
I tell you what, it's a shame the Sun Belt didn't go 4-1 because Arkansas State was leading the bottom that whole game.
Yeah.
How in the world two teams that scored tons of points? It was 7-3. With a minute left to go in that game, Arkansas State was winning it.
Yeah.
And then Nevada scores a touchdown. Then Arkansas State comes back and puts it in overtime. But very easily, the Sun Belt could have gone 4-1.
Do you know I had a call last night, and believe it or not, with Coach, people won't believe this, Mike, but you've been there. I don't know why they called me, but because I don't know any more than they know, really. But I get calls. I got several calls last night, and one of them was
national services.
One of them was asking about Chip Lindsey and would he be interested, and I said yes. And I've heard since that he's very interested if we lose Coach Brown. But also,
where is this from? Like some affiliates calling you?
No, these old former coaches or coaches looking for jobs more than anything. But they also asked me about Joey Jones. Well, Joey Jones did a great job at South Alabama, but
he's special teams coach at Mississippi State.
Yeah, his head coaching career is over with.
He's already got an Alabama retirement. He's done.
And I like Joey Jones, and you know him personally. I don't know him personally, but you.
Yeah, I mean, he was the coach at Mountain Brook High School. My wife was adoring him there, and we hung out with him in New Orleans, and super great, super nice guy. I mean. Was blown away after hanging out with him in New Orleans.
Yeah, it really was. And, of course, he was a great player at Alabama. Man, he could fly. Indoors, he won a national championship running the 60-yard dash indoors.
You know, I always wondered at Alabama, you know, of course it changed later, but he put his hand on the ground at wide receiver, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. He sure did. He always put his hand on the ground.
Yeah, that's crazy. You know, what made them do that?
To me, it helps you. Well, I mean, track stars put their hands on the ground.
Yeah.
Boy, he could fly too, man. Number 4, if that's right.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, number 4.
Number 4, he stood out. Fresno State.
They played for the Falcons a little bit.
Here's a team that you said something about early in the year, Fresno State, and they had a great year, the best year they probably ever had.
Yeah, Jeff Tepperford used to be the head coach of California, and you know, has done a great job at Fresno State. They beat Arizona State and Herm Edwards, but Herm Edwards had a pretty good first year coaching.
Yeah, he's a good coach.
As well as he did.
Louisiana playing Tulane, and Tulane,
Louisiana played horrible against Tulane.
Well, I'll tell you something about Tulane. They've got the old Georgia Southern coach that runs the option. And they like their coach. What's his name? At Tulane.
I don't know.
I know him.
Well, the Georgia Southern coach they would have had.
Yeah.
He was the Georgia Southern. Monken was at Georgia Southern, but now he's in Army.
Yeah, this guy though coached at Georgia Southern just a couple of years. He's the one that coached out at Texas, Mike. He used to be in our conference.
He used to be at Sam Houston State.
Sam Houston State won a national championship.
I can't think of his name. I know you're talking about that.
That's who we're talking about. And then, of course, North Carolina A&T, are they still undefeated?
No, they got beat during the season by somebody, but they won their championship.
Okay, I was wondering about that. But that gives you a rundown of the bowl games. I enjoyed that, Mike. That was good.
We had so much to talk about. We haven't been on the air in so long, but of course we could have stuff to talk about for days if we hear some stuff out of West Virginia about Neil Brown today.
Exactly right. And we have not gone out and said that he is leaving, but all indications say that he is the number 1 choice of
I mean, a lot of people are saying that he will be offered the job. Now, whether he takes it is going to be determined by him and his family and, possibly the coaching staff,
Exactly right.
But a lot of people say, if you stick around one more year, I mean, he could maybe have any job in the country.
Mike, how many times have we said that Malzahn had 1 foot off a cliff and the other foot on a banana peeling? But you know what? He finds a way to survive. Let me tell you this. His play calling, he called the plays in that game, was unreal. A lot of people still think that Malzahn might be one of the best play callers, Mike, in the country. And as long as he stays like that, Auburn's going to be pretty good, don't you think?
Well, you got to find a quarterback. Stidham's gone,
Yeah, exactly right. And, of course, all you Auburn folks got to be excited.
Even though Stidham has another year, he's gone.
Yeah, Stidham, has he already made his decision?
Yeah, he's going to the draft.
How good do you think he is? Is he a top 5 guy?
No.
He won't make any money then, will he?
He'll be second or third round, maybe second.
Who's the best quarterback in the country?
Haskins out of Ohio State, probably.
Yeah, he is pretty good, isn't he? Boy, I tell you what, you can like him or not like him, but that old vacuum cleaner salesman is a pretty good football coach, isn't he?
Urban Meyer, no doubt.
No question about it. And every time I look at Urban Meyer, I said, well, I hope he'll take care of his son-in-law, who we know here very well, don't we?
Yeah, Corey Dennis.
Corey Dennis, that played right here at Charles Henson High School, is the son-in-law of Urban Meyer.
Well, that's true, yeah.
And he had Baird, and he is the father of Urban Meyer's grandson.
Yeah, their grandson's name's Troy.
Isn't that unreal? He named his grandson Troy. Well, I tell you what, he lived on Crow Hill. I used to see him all the time. He used to come jump in that pool every now and then too, on a hot summer's day. But he was a fine young man and a real good football player.
Yeah, I tell you what, he was a really good football player. I called some of his games with you. He could just outrun people when he got in the open field.
No question about it. And I remember him playing against St. Paul's. He had about 200-some yards rushing, I think, in that game. But
well, man, I'll be in touch with you throughout the day.
Mike, hear this, Mike. Hear this, Mike. The Auburn Tigers are victorious, 63-14. Auburn over Purdue. Auburn's getting ready. Auburn will be ready. Auburn will be a force next year in college football. It'll be Auburn and Alabama playing for the SEC championship next year
That's not possible. They both are.
All right, well, let's see. Auburn and Alabama, get ready. War Eagle, they're going to be ready, Mike. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed our show today. And, of course, brought to you by some great sponsors, and we appreciate them so very much. And for you Auburn Tigers out there, wait until next year. You'll be good. Believe you me. See you tomorrow, bright and early for Today in L.A. Have a good one.